You are listening to the Primetime Podcast with your hosts, Bryant Chisel and Jake Jorgensen. Hello, everybody. I'm here with my boy Jake and Brandon.
Welcome back, Brandon.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, you should be.
Contrary to popular belief, I am excited to be here.
We kind of broke the rules by bringing you here, but, when duty calls. We've got a pretty good matchup on the docket for you this week, so we're thinking maybe you might get your first win.
I can already feel the jinx incoming. And you know what? I wouldn't mind losing this week. We'll talk about that later.
Okay, we will talk about that later. For now, we've got the Week 6 matchups to review. Starting with, let's just start with mine. Fuck it. The AI hater makes a return, going up against the Kirktober. The top of the league, Kirktober, may I say. And yeah, this is a tough one for me, man. Greg was respectable. He had a solid week. But some quarterback issues on both sides. But mine might be more severe than Greg's, if I say so myself. That Minnesota-Chicago game decided a lot in this matchup because Greg has the Cousins, the Hawkinson, the Addison. I have the Madison and the Fields. There's a lot of pieces in that game, and that game finished 19-13. So that about sums up this matchup.
Yeah, the Fields injury just adds some insult to injury.
It's so tough.
To the whole week. That is just tough to look at.
Dislocated thumb, I think they said it was. So not going to play this week. But there are talks he might be back after this week. In the meantime, I've picked up the Arizona quarterback, Josh Dobbs. So my DMs are open. If you have quarterbacks that aren't Dak Prescott, George. He man-thied me, Jake. Did I tell you about that?
No, I gotta hear about this.
George man-thied me this week. I was talking to him about a trade. We had actually been talking for a while about a trade, and it keeps getting close and then not quite coming through. And eventually, he tried to offer me Dak Prescott for something. And Dak Prescott, for those who haven't been keeping up with Dak Prescott, he has been absolutely brutal this year. Let me just, he's on bye this week. But yeah, 6, 22, 14, 13, 3, 22. So absolutely disgustingly bad. And I just, not only did he offer him to me and I said, no, I don't want Dak Prescott. I think he wanted like a 5th round pick or something like that. It was...
Jesus.
I know. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. Could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, George. Don't mean to slander you. But it was somewhere around there. And I said, no, I don't want Dak. And then what does he do? The next day, he drops him.
That is a man-thigh.
He man-thied me.
That is absolutely a man-thigh.
Man-thigh absolutely loves, in the Dynasty League for sure. I don't know how often he does that in this league. But he loves putting players on the trade block. And then, like, a week later, he'll cut them when nobody's interested because they stink. So.
Yeah.
Tough.
So in this one, we obviously, you talked about the tough week with the quarterbacks.
Yep.
I found it pretty funny that this is following the surprise drop of Trevor Lawrence by Greg. And it looks like Trevor Lawrence doubled up Kirk Cousins' score this week. Had to throw that out there.
That's awesome, dude. That is awesome. Oh, boy. Yeah, this was just an all-around bad performance. It's good to see Olave do well. Adams was bad. He's dealing with injury and no quarterback. Derrick Henry, pretty solid. Madison, okay. Waller, fine. Hollywood had a pretty disappointing day. Arizona got the brakes beat off them by the Rams. And then, kicker and, hey, Chiefs defense, though. That was a good start to the week. I was pretty happy on that Thursday night,
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
And you talked about Greg having the best record currently being in first place, and this is with a bad week of quarterback play.
Yep.
And that's where he's like that's crazy when you think about it. And even his bench, I mean, I don't know, you might be feeling the same way, but me seeing that bench, it looks nothing like what I've been seeing week in and week out, and that's where you see like the elite teams. They've just got options,
The luxury of
and it's
benching
crazy.
Kenneth Walker.
Yeah,
I mean, before his bye week, he was what, like the running back 3 or something like that? No, he must not have been. He was pretty high though.
he was up there. Yeah,
He
he
was
was
playing
up
well.
there.
Yeah.
He was probably behind Mostert and Achan. I think they had both blown up by then. But he was top 5. So, I don't know. Luxury. And then Michael Pittman had a big game, which I think he's going to continue to do as Gardner Minshew throws the ball there because he. Say what you will about Gardner Minshew and Anthony Richardson. Gardner's better for fantasy for the options there for Michael Pittman and all those guys.
I didn't think that was the case, but you might be right there.
That
To be honest,
the other game, any time that Anthony Richardson got KO'd, I think it was week 3 was the other big one where Gardner played he played at least a half. Michael Pittman had like very few fantasy points in the first half, and then he had most of his points in the second half, from what I remember at least. So Gardner's been good for Michael Pittman, and the better Atlanta tight end had continued to be involved. Sorry, Kate, this is slander at this point. Kyle Pitts has been good. So
Greg got to use Kyron Williams one more time before he gets
Yeah.
hurt.
he'll be back
He's gonna be out for a
soon,
bit.
right? Was it a high ankle sprain? Did you hear? I
Let's
know it
see.
was ankle. He
God, I'm
had.
sick of Yahoo just saying ankle,
I know.
just saying knee.
Says expected to miss multiple games. That's right.
Yeah.
Due to a
That's from
sprained
ESPN.
ankle. Yeah, I would expect it to be a high ankle sprain if you're missing multiple weeks. But unconfirmed news. Yeah, Kyron Williams. Oh man. So the Minnesota stack for Greg didn't really work out, but he got the job done. Brett Maher, Jacksonville, Kyron Williams. Let's ride. So I'm going to leave this matchup at that. I'm kind of disgusted with it. Wow, my team was eerily similar to Manthi's this week. That's depressing. Speaking of Manthi, we're going to go over to that matchup. Him versus Laner. Heck yeah, dude. Lane putting up some fantasy points. 132? Hell yeah. Manthi, dude. This is a historically bad team.
With all due respect,
Yeah.
to Manthi, actually, fuck the respect. Manthi, I feel like he's just not trying. When I see Clyde and Breida in the lineup, like back-to-back weeks, it just feels like Manthi's making a joke of this league. Like, you say tanking is supposed to be something where you have to still put up a fieldable,
You have to start a
like a
lineup.
plausible roster. And I get he's starting a roster, but he picked up, I don't know if he picked up Ahmed or whatever, if he had him on the bench.
No,
but
he just picked him up,
How are you not starting him with
I
Achan?
think.
On the freaking out. Manthi just freaking makes my blood boil. Sorry, Manthi. Actually, I'm not sorry.
It's actually really funny to me because I was looking at his lineup for this week, and you're right, because it's like he's not trying because he's not picking anybody up, but at the same time, he's starting a solid lineup every week. I mean, sure, Drake London could have been in his lineup this week, but I don't fault the guy for putting Terry McLaurin in over him, and Ayuk and CeeDee Lamb you got to start, right? So, understandable, and Ahmed is, the only running back you can throw in there, and I mean, did Saquon even play last week?
Yes.
He did? Okay. Yeah, so when Saquon's active, Breida's not really a viable player. But Ahmed was a question mark. I mean, this was his first game being called. Was he called up from the practice squad or coming off injury or something? This is his first game. I was afraid to start him personally in one of the leagues I had him in, but I had to. So, yeah, he's not trying, it feels like. But at the same time, he's at least changing his lineup. It's weird. He needs running backs.
I agree with you guys. I don't think it's egregiously tanking in any way. He's starting a lineup.
His team's just shit.
It's definitely not egregiously tanking.
He just like, I mean, he's sitting there like Guys, I'm trying. Look at my bench. I've got Aaron Jones. I've got Nick Chubb. You can see them that they're both there. So it's like if those guys weren't injured originally, it's a different team. But at the same time, yeah, I guess starting running backs combined for under 6 points projected does look pretty bad.
It looks really bad.
I just don't understand how he hasn't spent any fab.
That
Like,
blows my mind.
I know it's way beyond the fact now, but when Chubb went out, he should have just been spending a decent amount on freaking Ford. What's it, Jerome Ford,
Yeah,
right?
Jerome Ford. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand this guy.
I'm starting to wonder if Preston doesn't know how to spend fab. He hasn't done it.
That'd be a twist.
Would that
I
be
know. I think I remember last year looking when we watching rewinds and just seeing that he always had a bunch of fab last season. This could be wrong, but I could have swore he had a shit ton of fab last year as well that he didn't spend.
All right, Preston, I hope you're watching. I'm going to show you how to spend fab real quick. All right, say I'm going to pick up Sam Howell here. All right, I clicked the little plus here. I know you know how to do that. I've seen you pick up players. All right, say I'm going to cut. Oh, let's not accidentally. Oh, shit. Say I'm
Make
going to
sure
cut
you
the
let him
Chiefs
know-
defense.
Sorry to interrupt you. Just make sure you let him know that the 100 does regenerate every
Yes,
single week.
every single week. Yes, don't forget that, Preston. I've actually never done this on computer. Where do I type in my fab?
Oh no! Oh my god!
Do you see it?
It's because it's not a bid yet. You could just pick him up right now.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
I got to find somebody that's actually here. Sam to picking up Dak Prescott. Thank you. That was embarrassing. All right, so I'm picking up Dak Prescott. So I've got 65 doll hairs right here, Preston. I can type in any number. I can type in 69. It's not going to work because I don't have that. But I can type in whatever I want here. And then if I type in more money, oh, look, even on the computer, it shows what everybody has. It's kind of nice. Hundy. Also Cade Hundy. Also a little strange, but Cade's team is good. So
I do know Cade tried to spend fab because him and
That's true.
When I picked up Swift back in the day,
Yep.
he offered the same amount of fab.
Yeah,
I don't
31
know.
apiece.
I'm not sure what the tie goes to, but
I think it's a record. I think it's bad
yeah, which
record.
would
I'm
make
not
sense
sure.
why I got it over him.
Yeah. So there you go, Preston. There's a little rundown on how to spend your fab. A little bit of tutelage. Jesus.
I'm just imagining. Like Preston told me that he just usually skips to his section of this rewind, but I'm just
Sick.
imagining him just bored out of his mind every time we go over the free agent recap. This doesn't make sense at all. This makes no sense.
He doesn't listen to the transactions. Oh, that's funny. All right, Preston. You've hopefully learned something today. On your phone, it's even more obvious. It's the same box. It's right in front of your face. You can't miss it. Anyways, that's enough. That's enough talking about Preston's team. Lane's team, pretty solid. Justin Herbert had a decent game. Debo got hurt, which really sucks. It sounds like he might play this week. It was a shoulder injury, so we'll see. Even if he does play, are you starting him? It's in Minnesota. It's a pretty good matchup.
I gotta see what his.
He's got Brandon
injury
Cooks on his
is.
bench. DJ Chark on his bench.
Cooks is on bye this week,
Ooh,
right?
Cooks on bye? Okay. Chark, Elijah Moore, and Tyler Boyd are his receivers on the bench. Oh, he has Nico Collins in the flex, though, so he could start Zeke or Najee.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
might
Did he
have to.
drop? Does he still have Boyd?
Oh, did he cut him? I'm looking at
No,
his
he might have
roster
him.
from
Boyd's on
last week.
bye next week anyway, though.
Oh, I'll look at
Pretty
his
sure the
roster.
Bengals are on bye.
I don't want to get too far into it, I guess. You might have to start Debo. Lane's bench isn't that good. It's unfortunate because I'd be a little worried personally about Debo next week if he does play. There's a lot of options on San Francisco. It's not like they're going to need him against Minnesota. But maybe, last year he was really, really good without Christian McCaffrey. So if McCaffrey misses and Debo plays, might feel okay. Amon-Ra had a big boy week. Detroit whooping up on Tampa. Tony Pollard, solid. JT's been struggling, man. He's been getting worked into the offense a little bit. We'll see if that improves. But Zach Moss, I think, split carries pretty 50-50 with him. Mark Andrews, fine. Nico Collins has consistently been good. Nico Collins is a good wide receiver in fantasy football. He's had a couple bad weeks, but what wide receiver hasn't? Very few can give you 42 points. I don't know. Seems a pretty good start to me. He seems like a really good flex player. Justin Tucker and San Fran defense. Yeah, Not bad from Lanner. 131.
When you can score 130 with pretty much a goose from Debo, I mean,
Yeah.
you're taking that 10
I
times
agree.
out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Tucker, dude. Oh, he had a huge game too. He was chopping field goals left, right, and center. Baltimore could not score touchdowns.
He missed a
that game.
PAT, I'm pretty sure,
Oh,
as well.
did he? So he
Yeah.
could have had 19.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
You're right, he did. Because the PAT miss in our league is 3.
We'll have to find
So
out
we
later
would've had 20.
whether it was an owned
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
best kicker or if it's a free agent kicker like normal. Maybe Tucker did it.
Yeah, 16's borderline. It's usually 16 to 20, somewhere in there. We'll see. I didn't mark that down today. We're going to have to go through the old-fashioned way.
Harry Butker had to have been close, too.
Oh, yeah,
We'll
Chiefs.
find out, I guess.
I don't know if the Chiefs scored enough points for him to be close.
I know we kicked a 60-yarder,
Ooh,
and I
true.
think he had a 50-something as well.
If he had a couple 50s, that would get him pretty close. All right, we'll see. We're going to move on to the Daddy Empire and Nick B. Is it just me, or does that not make any sense?
Especially with Hasbulla as a picture, it doesn't really make sense. But,
Dude, you got to update your picture, man. Although I do like what's the word I'm looking for here? The culture of Hasbulla. You know, the reference to the show at this point.
Yeah, it's a callback.
It is. That was this group, wasn't it? Weren't you guys the guys that taught me about Hasbulla?
yes, I'm pretty sure.
It was me. I made a poor effort. I don't think.
Oh,
Brandon
no,
was here.
Brandon wasn't on. He
just
commented.
commented
I wasn't-
as a
yeah.
listener.
It was Lemons, wasn't it?
That sounds
It was
right.
Lemons.
I think it was Lemons.
Yeah.
Georgia's team blew up this week. It was kind of nuts. Tua, big game. Cooper Kupp doing his thing. Adam Thielen, dude. He is a landmine to me. Super fun to own. I couldn't imagine him being on my team.
I don't know if I've ever owned Adam Thielen. Maybe once. I just can't remember a season that I had Thielen.
He had like identical weeks this week and last week. If you look at his numbers, 11 catches, 115, 11 catches, 107.
You're right. He just had 7 more yards.
13 targets.
It's crazy.
8 more yards.
8 more yards.
Yeah, jeez. That's actually incredible. Talk about consistency. Now, I have a question for you guys. The bye week is here. Did you hear the report that Frank Reich is giving up play calling for the Panthers?
I did not hear that.
Yeah, I didn't hear that either.
He is. How does that affect Adam Thielen for you going forwards?
Has to be at least a little concerning after
I don't know if
the
that's
production you were saying.
Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know how much. I don't know.
I think he'll probably be okay, but if next week, I guess 2 weeks because he's on bye next week. If Thielen's next game and he scores like 10 points, I'd be shitting bricks. Even if he's totally fine rest of the season, and never had, that's his one bad game of the year. He somehow stays healthy all year and has a really good year. If that 1 week happened, I'd be terrified. First week after new play caller, oof.
Yeah, one thing.
Go for it.
Regardless of the play calling, though, you could tell Bryce Young trusts him. Like, true. I mean, he's had over 13 targets 3 of the last 4 weeks, so that's something that I think definitely. I think he still has the opportunity to produce.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't think that'll really change.
Yeah, he's one of the only guys there that can really catch a football. DJ Chark's okay, but meh.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I didn't know if you're trying to lead George into potentially. If you're George, are you even thinking about selling him high at this point, going into the bye week with how, like, you could get a good return for him at this point?
Yeah, it's tough.
The first 6 weeks.
I was pretty close to making a trade with him involving Devontae Adams.
George selling him low would probably still be more than what I'd pay for him, just based off of George's trade value for his players. But if he can package for an elite, maybe even like a better player to keep for next year. I'm guessing George is now back all in toward like a playoff run here, even though he's 2-4. But with 165, I could totally see George.
His team is good.
Fuck it. Yeah, it's not bad at all.
It's a good team. Tua's a really good fantasy quarterback. Cooper Kupp's beast. Adam Thielen, if he continues to do this, I mean, he's like wide receiver 5 right now in the year or something like that. It's kind of crazy.
You have to expect some regression.
You do.
You never know.
I mean, this is an unsustainable pace. He's on pace for like 1,700 yards.
That's crazy.
It's insane. So we'll see. But as of now, he's a wide receiver one, no question. Josh Jacobs continues to be consistently average, but could get it going. Slow start. Brees Hall looks really good ever since they took the training wheels off him. Evan Ingram, totally, good week. He's a tight end, but he looks consistent, which is gold in the tight end landscape. James Cook's been pretty tough the past couple weeks, but if your worst problem is your flex and you've got, Josh Myers on your bench, Josh Myers looked really good too. Or sorry, Jacoby, not Josh. Who's Josh Myers?
The kicker.
Oh yeah, Seattle. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jacoby Myers.
Jacoby Myers has been getting targets.
Yep.
Like crazy, pretty much all year.
He has been. Now DeAndre Hopkins might be worthless now that Tannehill's hurt. I think Tannehill's been out.
Yeah, he was limping
Tannehill
really
went down with
good
an
that
ankle
last
and did
game.
not return.
Yeah.
I thought I heard that he was out for an extended period of time. And for as long as Tannehill's injured, DeAndre Hopkins is going to be unplayable, right? You're talking either, who did they have last year that subbed in? I think he was a rookie last year. They drafted somebody this year too, the milkman. What's that guy's name?
Levis.
Yeah, thank you, Will Levis.
Is it Will Levis?
Yeah, they drafted Will Levis
yeah.
this year, so he's on the team. But they also had somebody, I think he was a rookie last year that they drafted a little
Malik
later.
Willis.
Oh, Malik Willis, thank you. Yes.
Oh yeah.
He was the one that came in for.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he looked really bad.
Yeah, he came in for Tannehill and he looked disgustingly bad.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't start Hopkins until Tannehill comes back, and who knows when that'll be. But I guess we can move on. And Jefferson, when he comes back, who knows when that'll be, but when he comes back. Cup, Thielen, Jefferson is disgusting. That's a league-winning material if Thielen can keep going.
Yeah, this just going back to Nick's team here, obviously seeing the questionables on both starting running backs who have been insane this year.
Yep.
Really hurts. And I was just looking back because I was curious to see how many weeks in a row Nick's team has just popped off. I'm going back week 2, 173, week 3, 157, week 4, 199, week 5, 196.
Yeah,
now you're down to 102.
He's in a league of his own.
Such a run. And yeah, that was a tough week, but this is still a really good team, and got to keep those running backs healthy, though. I don't know about that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a tough spot for him this upcoming week, but I think he picked up the Reynolds guy, the backup for Montgomery. Assuming
Craig
Gibbs
Reynolds, I believe.
Yeah, Craig Reynolds, yep. So we'll see. He'll probably be in the lineup. And he has Elijah Mitchell, so he'll be in the lineup if McCaffrey can't go. What else can you do, I guess? He'll be okay.
True.
He's got a good team. DJ Moore without Justin Fields might be really bad. Who knows? I don't know. I'm kind of torn on it because part of me says DJ Moore's been really good with Justin Fields, so Fields missing time is going to really stink for him. But also, Justin Fields can't throw a football. So, what's that guy's name? Bagent for the Bears is taking over.
Oh.
He can't be a worse thrower than Fields, right? So if he says, all I have to do is throw the football to my best wide receiver, Moore will probably be okay. We'll see.
True.
I don't know. I'm kind of torn on what I should think there. But we'll see how it goes. He plays for the Bears, so he's already volatile. But yeah, you're right. Nick B's got a really good team. He just has to keep the boys healthy. McCaffrey out really hurts. But, 4-2, it's pretty close to everybody else in the league.
Yeah.
Slippery slope. Let's move over to Cade and Carolyn Sperm Domer.
God, that is brutal.
I said Domer. Oh, jeez. Sperm donor. I don't know if anybody got a good look at that picture. Was that when we were coming back from Six Flags, Brandon? People were looking at it and they were wondering
Yeah,
who that
and
was.
they were trying to say it was Cade, and I was like, if that was Cade, that name would be absolutely I mean, it already is a filthy name, but that would be like an ungodly filthy name.
That
But
would be
we definitely
disgusting.
could tell it was Lemons. Just
Yeah,
that grin. You could spot that grin from a mile away.
you absolutely can. Plus, K doesn't catch Northerns that. Yeah, wait, are you talking about the grin? Or are you talking about the grin?
Oh, both grins. Good catch there.
Hey. So, this matchup, huh? Lemons moves to 4-2. Same record as Nick B. He's got a pretty solid team. His team is built different than Nick's, in my opinion. He's got a lot of players that can put up a ton of fantasy points, and he's got some players that just stink. Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Raheem Mostert's going to be a freaking guy with Achane out, man. He could be our RB1 on the year if he stays healthy.
The Mahomes Tyreek stack still doing things.
Yeah, still.
Although this wasn't a great Mahomes week, but
it's good enough to get you by. But you're right. You're not hoping for that. I think is that 2 weeks in a row.
We haven't really had a great Mahomes week. He's had good, like he's played well, but not
week
a
3 against the Bears.
I'm talking 45.
Not like a 40 plus. Yeah,
you're right. Well, the Chiefs have been changing their offensive philosophy a little bit this year. They've been running the ball a lot more. Isaiah Pacheco's a lot more involved. I mean, last year Isaiah Pacheco was still the guy, and he wasn't getting nearly the amount of touches he was getting this year.
Yeah, they're really missing a deep threat this year. But I did see today they traded for Mecole Hardman, bring him back to Kansas City.
For him?
So
who had him?
They did, yeah. The Jets had him.
Oh,
I don't know what they traded.
gave up? Yeah,
it's like a late pick, I believe.
It has to be a late pick.
Yeah, that's kind of funny to me. Interesting.
Yeah.
You'd think they would have. Yeah, whatever. Not too many organizations would admit defeat like that and re-sign a player they just cut or let walk.
True.
So, kudos to him there, to the Chiefs there, I guess. A cheeky Saquon Barkley on Lemons' bench, so he'll slot in nicely where Foreman was sitting, and that's a pretty scary lineup if I'm going to be honest. A little bit of work at the tight end position, maybe. Zach Ertz isn't necessarily a stud, but he'll get you some points. But that's a scary roster, in my opinion. Godwin's your weak link.
We'll see how long Kamara can keep it up. He's played really well since he came back.
He looks really good.
Yeah.
7 catches. You basically cannot have a bad day as a running back with 7 catches.
Nope.
23 catches in 3 games.
Yeah, that's
not to mention averaging like 15 rushing attempts or so, 12, somewhere in the 12 to 15 range for rushing attempts. That's kind of nuts. So
yeah, Lemons has a really good team.
Yeah, that team is really nice. He deserves 4-2. Dare I say, I might be more afraid of Lemons' team than Nick's team.
Nick definitely. I think Lemons. I think Lemons has more depth. Like Lemons has a pretty solid bench. I mean, maybe not pretty solid. It's pretty solid. He's got Ford on the bench. Sutton's there.
Brian Robinson's been pretty good.
Brian Robinson's there. I mean, Saquon's going to be in the starting lineup.
Could use some wide receiver help probably because, Sutton's been doing all right. You can play Sutton, but I wouldn't want to play Jameson Williams. I mean, I know he caught that touchdown, but he's dropped so many passes. Jake, how do you feel about your boy Jameson Williams? I know you're a big Jameson guy.
Yeah, I'm a big Jameson Williams guy. What did he have? 2 catches, 1 big touchdown. I mean, I'm still excited for Jameson Williams. I like watching him out there. He burns. Oh, I saw this crazy route that he ran. That was just like a comeback route, but he just stopped on a dime. I do like Jameson Williams.
All right, Jake, quit busting.
And I don't have him in any leagues.
You don't have him in Dynasty?
Fun to have him.
I thought you did.
Nope, Nick does. Nick has him.
Nice.
It's another story, but yeah.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, and let's not forget about CK over here. Josh Allen had a pretty bad week. Dude, the Bills look tough right now.
Yeah, that was that was an ugly game to watch, just all in all.
It took everything in the Buffalo's power plus the refs to win that game.
I kind of see your point now with maybe being more scared of Lemons' team than Nick's.
It just provides so much more upside, I think.
But if DJ Moore was still looking good and Justin Fields wasn't hurt and that was still clicking, and then you throw Christian Watson in there. I'm looking at Nick's team right now.
I'm not afraid of Christian Watson.
I think if Nick and Michael's teams are if it's kind of a toss up in terms of who I'm more scared of, I'm just gonna tiebreaker goes to the Travis Kelsey team.
That's fair.
That's
And the
my
Christian
philosophy.
McCaffrey team.
Yeah. Well, Tyreek Hill, I can't say they cancel out, but they kind of do in terms of me being scared of McCaffrey and Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kelsey, that's
I'd be. Is it
tiebreaker
bad that
for
I'm
me.
more afraid of Mostert right now with it just being him than I am of anybody else
I
in this
think
team?
Nick is probably more afraid of Mostert than any of us.
I'm terrified of Raheem Mostert, dude. He could score so many touchdowns in any given week.
That is true. Yeah. Keep the man's healthy.
They're not going to
That'll
stop.
do it.
He just keeps
No.
coming.
Whoa, pause on that though.
Oh, I was going to say pause, and then I was like, who the hell is that? That was great.
Thank you. Soundboard edition. So
Sure, yeah.
we're going to keep them coming.
I mean, I'm looking at Cade's team real quick. He did trade with me for Waddle and Kirk, and I mean, he got good weeks out of both of them.
He did.
I'm guessing he's probably going to start Kirk next week because he has Higgins in there right now, who's going to be on bye.
I think you have to keep benching Higgins until he proves that he can play
And
football again.
and yeah, you have to bench him too. But they're on bye this week, so I mean, he's got Kirk, who we did trade for, so I'm guessing he'll start him. Although
Yeah.
could
Well,
start
he's got Metcalf too.
I suppose. Yeah, I guess we'll see what he wants to do. But I'm assuming he traded for Kirk to start him at least a couple times. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
A little bit of depth. You could definitely make the argument that he could play over Metcalf this week. Who does Metcalf have this week?
Yeah.
Arizona. Arizona.
But Higgins has been brutal. I mean, I know he's been banged up, so I guess the bye couldn't really come at a better time for him. But
And Cincinnati's offense in general has been pretty bad. So it's
Yeah.
I think there's two things going on here. I think Higgins has been disappointing, and I think that the Bengals in general just not been.
Yeah, they need the bye.
So I think Cade needs a bye here, dude. Bijan, 13 points. Really not what you're looking for. ETN looks really good though. I mean,
Yeah, he has looked good.
to have 2 touchdowns and 23 points. I feel like if I have 2 touchdowns, I'm wanting a little bit more. Is that greedy? It's pretty good, I guess.
No, that's not greedy.
That's not
That's
great.
actually
He
true.
didn't have very many yards. I don't know. But regardless, 23 points. I'm happy with that. Goddard's looked good past few weeks. And I will, admit where I'm wrong. Kyle Pitts also looks good. That's 2 weeks in a row?
That
There you
is,
go.
yeah.
So, good for him. Did bag a touchdown this week. That's his first one of the year. So, we'll see if that can continue in Atlanta. Curtis Samuel, another touchdown this week. Probably call it good there. Deshaun Watson, still hurt and still really bad at football. Let's
Hey, but the Browns won.
What's that?
I said, hey, but the Browns won.
The Browns did win. They beat San Fran. Good for them, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Let's get on to the matchup of the week, shall we?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Jake and Brandon.
Heavyweight matchup.
Yeah. It seems like every matchup you're in, Brandon, is disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, I have a bone to pick with Lamar. I mean, you can never argue with 18 points, but watching the Ravens, God, Lamar just is leaving a lot to be desired. I mean, it's just not. I mean, he's had a pretty good year fantasy wise. I mean,
It's been pretty solid, yeah. He's had a couple bad weeks.
he's had 2 bad weeks, but it's like when you watch him, there's so many. He'll make so many stupid mistakes, really bad turnovers. Sometimes he's just. I don't know. My team is just leaves a lot to be desired as a whole. So I don't really want to talk about it.
Garrett Wilson had a good week.
Yeah, that is very
All
nice.
targets.
Wilson is like, I don't know.
He's never going to score a
I
touchdown,
think-
but he'll get
No.
catches. The Jets just don't score, man.
Yeah, and on theme with the Bengals offense, I mean, mix him with just another mediocre week. I mean, he's been
Yeah.
okay this year. I don't think he's met his projection once all season. I'm looking right now. He has been. I mean, he's basically gotten it a couple times, but
Has never beaten it, though. You're right.
yeah. I mean, Devontae Smith has been brutal these last couple weeks. Yeah, my team
Yep.
just is tough to watch, but
You had to start Jonathan Mingo
Congratulations.
this week, huh?
I didn't have to, but I did. I could have started Rashee Rice or Jerry Judy.
Jason.
I was mainly between Judy and Mingo actually, but you know what, Mingo, it didn't really matter at the end of the day. I mean, Rasheed Rice would have won me the matchup, but
Yeah, that's tough. Rasheed
it is
Rice
what
might
it
be in
is.
your lineup
Yeah,
this
he is
season.
this. He is in my current lineup. I mean, we can talk about that later, but he is
Yeah,
in my roster right now.
Jerry Judy, I don't think you can play until he gets traded.
No, I saw he was beefing with Steve Smith. I don't know if you guys
Oh
saw
yeah,
that.
that was so funny.
It was awesome.
Steve
Steve Smith like
Smith,
roasted him on live television.
Yeah, I saw that.
it was
Yeah.
insane. For any of you viewers out there that have not seen that, I urge you to look up the Steve Smith interview where he's on TV just roasting the absolute shit out of Jerry Judy. It was some stuff that I wouldn't think a professional would say on live television about another professional athlete, but oh man, was it funny. So
Yeah, it was pretty hilarious. I'll let
Yeah,
Jake talk about his side. My side was not
I
great.
was
Brock
very
Purdy.
fortunate to win this one. Going into this week, I knew the stakes. I knew this would be a tough loss for it to be it'd be Brandon's first win of the season. I gave Preston his one and only win of the season. I wasn't super confident going into this one, but this was a tough week to see Brock Purdy finally have like a really bad week.
The
He
Browns
had
defense
like a
is
12.
legit.
I knew the Browns defense was good, but I thought Purdy was just like defense proof. Like he's just been an alien
I agree.
since he started games. It's been crazy. The 49ers offense has just been good against anybody, especially like they did super well against Dallas. Maybe Dallas is just a fake good defense.
Per
We'll
usual,
see.
Dallas is a fraud.
Very possible. Didn't look that way right away, but yeah. I mean, I will say the more I look at my team, it could have been an average week. I mean, George Kittle, I drafted him knowing this shit would happen all the time. But I thought, maybe once in a while he'll have some big weeks. He had like one. But I mean, if Purdy got like 15 to 20 and Kittle got just an average like 7 or 8, this wouldn't look as bad. But
But they didn't.
just they did not. Yeah, happy to get the win. And it was funny because like if I would have lost this one, it would have I probably would have sold everybody and just committed to the tank, even at like 3-3, just because this team is just not clicking right now. But somehow we're getting wins. When we go on to the points for, you'll notice that I have the least of the 4-2 teams, which isn't really a surprise to anyone right now. But yeah, really just happy to get the win. And then I know Brandon mentioned that he wanted to win, but at the same time, a loss would be okay for the first round pick next year. And I guess my team completely like was responsible for that since I had the one win to Preston, keeping Brandon at the unanimous
Oh,
last place right now.
could you
So I guess I'm
imagine
kind of responsible for that. Yeah,
if Jake went 3-3 and two of his losses are against teams that have their only win against him?
that was very possible and almost happened. And I'm also looking
Oh,
back at week 2, and it was also 101 to 103. I
really?
knew it was close. It was also 101 to 103. I lost that one. So we were fortunate enough. Going into Monday night, I had like 60 points. I knew like my big name players like Eckler and Keenan Allen were playing, but it's still really
Yeah.
unfortunate to see 60 points going into Monday night
So
without a quarterback.
Did Keenan Allen catching those few passes at the end of the game win you this matchup?
Yes, there was a
Sort
point where
of.
there was a point. Yeah, I mean, the whole game he caught a touch. Was this touchdown early? It was the first touchdown of the game, right?
Yeah, he had an
It was the
early one.
I think
Chargers'
it
first
was.
touchdown because Gerald Everett
Yeah,
had the other one.
yeah. And once he scored that touchdown, I mean, the projections favored Jake pretty heavily. But you could,
Yep.
I felt that they were just going to keep rolling, which they didn't. They actually didn't keep rolling. They lost the game, obviously. But I mean, Keenan Allen did what you needed him to do. Your guys did what you needed them to do. You scraped by. I mean,
Yep.
Yeah,
Ferguson could have just had one more catch.
Oh.
Yeah, just one more catch for like 10 yards.
the projection had me up to I believe 111 at one point in the first half.
Yeah, back when they
So
thought
it
Eckler was
started.
gonna have 20 points.
Yep, which did not happen. But it was actually kind of funny because towards the end of the game, you start thinking about like game script. Like in your head, you're knowing, will the Chargers get a chance to pass, to get the ball back and pass? Then just like the relief knowing that I also had the Dallas kicker and I needed like a point and a half left or
Oh
something.
yeah.
So he actually got me. I think that was what happened, right, Brandon? It was the
Yes.
Dallas kicker that got me over. Yep.
Yeah,
So
the
that was
only
just
way
super lucky.
I could have got out of that was if Ferguson
got
had a couple catches to get you in field goal range, and I still would have ended up scraping by. But
Yeah,
yeah, like you say, if you had
there was
the
some
Chargers
relief
getting the
there.
ball back, so you would have still had some life, even though you didn't need it. But Keenan Allen could have had an opportunity to still get more points on the board anyway.
I was fortunate to start Chuba and have him just kind of. This is a pop off game for Chuba. 16 points. Yeah, that's a pop off game for
It is.
Chuba.
No Miles
In
Sanders,
flex.
though.
Yeah, I've got him on the bench still.
Oh, you both.
Yeah, he was my starter mostly
Gotcha.
this year, so I picked up Chuba.
Yeah.
First time I think I've ever picked up Chuba and it's actually worked. So,
Good for you, man.
yeah, I used to have but not much else to say about this one really. Just
No.
Yeah, at the
good
end
to
of the day,
stay involved in the playoff race.
the
Pretty
better
much
team won, just barely, but the better team did win.
Barely, yeah. Oh, it was barely.
Dirty deeds. That's all I have to say about it. Let's get into the standings. Top of the league, Kirktober in his stupid ass Buzz Lightyear costume. That thing kind of makes me mad. 736 points for. You know, I look at that number and I look at the rest of the league and I wonder why why him. But, you know, it's the way fantasy football goes, I guess, sometimes.
A little bit of
Points
karma
allowed.
for last year. I'm pretty sure last year, I mean, Greg's team wasn't bad, but he was what, like 0-8 at one point or something crazy like
Yeah,
that.
oh yeah. He got his
Yeah, oh,
first
yeah.
win very late in the year. I think
He
it
was
beyond
due
8.
some good fortune, and he's getting it right now. So
That's true.
True.
We've got a smattering of 4 and 2 teams led by Nick B's incredible 929 points for. He's on pace for a very large number. Cade, Lemons, and Jake following behind him. I will say Cade's points for only other team above 800. Oop, I take that back. George, 820. George,
Let's call it
George had that's tough.
Yeah.
Laner and I at 3 and 3, both pretty close on the points for. You look at Jordan; he's out of fab, 2 and 4. He's got a good team. He scored 820 points, number 3 in the league by a decent amount. And you look at the points against, and you're like, it's bad, but it's not Preston bad. You know, the thing about Preston is he's 1 and 5, and I don't think the points against matters at all. The guy scored 550 points this year. That's abysmal. He's averaging well under 100 points a game.
yeah,
Disgusting.
it's brutal.
If he beats you this year, Brandon, you should be embarrassed. I know you'll be happy about the pick, but
the 3 teams with the lowest points or the highest points against are bottom 3. So
yeah,
and the only one that really doesn't deserve to be there probably is George. I mean, me and Manti still deserve to be down there, but
George's team is much better than 8th place, which makes me sad because I'm at 7th place. What does that make my team? We have a lot of pretty good records.
Yeah, I'll just say last year we had Cade, who was probably about in the same spot as George here, kind of in the eighth spot for most of the year, with like the 3rd most points for, 4th most points for, whatever it was.
It happens,
There's
man.
always somebody. It's always somebody.
It happens.
But at the same time, I don't know if you guys do or not, but I really dislike when someone invites me to a league that they're like, we're going to do it where it's just, we're not going to do head-to-head matchups, and we're going to look at the top 4 scorers of the week, and like, nope, I don't want to join.
No.
yeah.
I've heard of leagues that like, if 6 make the playoffs, instead of the 6th place team being based on record, the 6th place team is the highest points for of the teams that didn't make it. You know, so no team that's been actually good gets screwed out of the playoffs. That's interesting. I've also heard of teams deciding draft order based on points for. So, you know, especially for Dynasty. But yeah, not doing head-to-head. I mean, head-to-head's the whole fun of the game, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have heard of leagues that will do 2 matchups a week, one against a head-to-head opponent and one against the average score of that week.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
I've heard that, yeah.
I know a couple
It's
people that
better
are in
than
the
the
league like that.
alternative, yeah.
Yeah, some people really enjoy that, and honestly, I can get behind it. So basically, instead of 17 games, or was it 18 games now? 17? Oh, well, we only play, what, 15 in the regular season? So instead of 15 games in the regular season, there are 30, right? So your record could be, you can go 30-0, I guess. But that's an interesting format. Never tried it, but seems fun. Transactions. Let's kick it. Looks like quite a few this week, huh? No trades. Might see some soon. George picked up Jordan Mason. Dropped a 27 fab on him. He better hope Christian McCaffrey doesn't play. Otherwise, Jordan Mason's not going to be doing much for you.
The rest of his fab on Jordan Mason.
Oh, yeah, that was the rest of his fab.
Jeez.
That's tough. Especially when I picked up Zach Evans for free, who is replacing Kyron Williams, and Kyron Williams is out for multiple weeks.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yikes. And Nick B picked up Craig Reynolds for 7. He'll probably get the nod. That's a bit more of an interesting situation with Jahmyr Gibbs. I snagged Josh Dobbs because I need a quarterback on my team that actually is playing football this week. Jake picking up the Graham. Oh, you picked up Graham Gano and then he got hurt, so you had to cut him.
Yes. Yep.
Did they say what he did? Just a knee injury.
Non-kicking leg. But I just picked him up recently, and then I saw the questionable. I'm not gonna mess around with it.
Yeah.
Let's pick up a different kicker.
Understandable. Washington defense, LA defense. Mike Williams had to get cut, unfortunately. I feel so bad about that, dude. I wanted to take him to the promised land, but I needed the roster spot really badly. Bummer.
Yeah, that hurts.
Roshan Johnson got picked up by K. That's probably a pretty good pickup, huh? With no Khalil Herbert.
Yeah.
I like to pick up.
I can't believe you guys let Zach Evans slip through the cracks. He's going to be the starter.
Well, the only team I know that needs a running back more than they need air to breathe.
Manti.
Preston.
Preston, you really shit the bed there, dude.
He doesn't listen to this part. We're good.
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, jeez. McCole Hardman got picked up.
Oh, speaking of Hardman.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess
I
when you
picked
have
him up
Keaton-
I'll be honest, I picked him up the minute I got the notification, not thinking like he's going to be insane necessarily, but it's just worth a shot. My bench has been really rough, and it's
you
totally
gotta
worth
think
a shot.
if they're gonna trade for him, he's gonna be in the plan. So
Yeah.
you might as well take a punt.
Jake, I need to ask you, why did you have Keaton Mitchell on your team?
I just had an open spot for a while, and he was listed on the IR, so I threw him on the IR for a little bit,
Oh, okay.
and then at some point I just had no need to drop him
Fair enough.
at all.
All right.
My bench hasn't been strong enough to be that careful about who I roster, apparently.
Fair enough. George cut Dak Prescott for a defense. The Manti right there. Brandon picking up Njoku. Cutting Hunter Henry loose. He's been pretty disappointing the past few weeks, huh?
Yeah, the Patriots has all just been
Terrible.
disgusting. Get some new flavor in the team. Had to do something. Ferguson's on bye. Didn't want to use Hunter Henry. There you go.
Yeah. And Jake picked up Riley Patterson. Good stuff. Any of the fab offers? Let's see. The Washington defense that Lemons picked up, Cade also put a bid in for $0. Didn't get him. And that was the only competition this week. Nobody competed with George to pick up Jordan Mason and spend all of his fab.
It would have been really funny. I'm just looking at the Trevor Lawrence one. Is if Greg dropped him and then Lane threw one fab, thinking that no one's going to bid on him, and then Greg threw 2 and just picked him up again. That would have been the funniest shit ever. If it was at the end of the season and he just had a bunch of fab just to drop Trevor Lawrence and then pick him back up.
That would have been really funny.
Oh,
Manti, use your fab for good use, man. You got to make some memes at the end of the year when you're out of the playoffs.
Oh, I miss. When I had a better team last year. Well, we started the trend of just picking up the weirdest named players. You remember that from
Yeah, I
last
do remember
year?
that. Yeah.
Brandon, I think you participated. I want to say.
Yeah, I forgot who I
It
had.
was
There was
it
someone
was
on the
something with
Titans
Dick or something like
IR.
that, wasn't it?
No.
I don't
No.
There
remember
was
who
a
it
lot of
was.
good names.
Might
I,
have to
I started
revisit that.
looking. I think I looked through like 200 names until I
Jesus.
found some good ones.
Wowza.
There was a couple.
There's like something McMath, I think was one I had.
Oh yeah,
Oh, Racy,
McMath.
Racy,
Tracy.
Racy McMath.
Tracy McMath.
Racy, no,
Racy.
Racy.
Racy?
Yeah. I think it's Racy.
RACEY, Racy McMath. I remember
That's
that.
a
I
good
was gonna
name.
do Mo Math, Mo Money with a Mr. Mo pick, but I didn't want to do it.
That's funny.
He's a free agent now. So.
All right, let's do the players of the week. All players. Oop, wrong week. Week 6, not week 7. All right, running back Raheem Mostert dropping 37-2. Wide receiver Tyreek Hill dropping 34-3. 2 of the Lemons' guys. 2 of Carolyn's sperm donors' guys. What? Tua, QB1, under 30 points. QB a little disappointing this week. 29.48 for Tua.
Wow.
That's George's boy. Jared Goff right behind him, also George's boy. Tight ends, Travis Kelce, who else? 24.4. Kicker, Harrison Butker, 17.
Boom.
There were
Owned.
3 kickers. Hey, owned, you're right. Let me make sure I write that down.
Daddy Empire.
Harrison Butker, 17 points by the Empire. Yep, George. There were 2 other kickers with 17, Dustin Hopkins and Brandon McManus, both unowned. No comment.
This is a close one.
If
It was
Tucker would have
close.
made that PAT, he would have been number 1.
Yes, sir, he would have been. Defenses, the Minnesota defense topped the week unowned against the Bears. I was so afraid to play them. That in my opinion, that's a byproduct of Justin Fields getting injured. I had the Minnesota defense and I cut them for Kansas City's defense. It would not have mattered in my matchup, but I was too afraid to play the Minnesota's defense against the Bears. They had been good the past 2 weeks.
Well, I picked up the Las Vegas Raiders defense against the Bears this week, so hopefully they can repeat.
Yeah, that should be good.
Possible.
Hopefully. So there are the players of the week. Let's get into the matchup previews real quick. I'm going up against Cade. This is going to be a big matchup for me, and I have to start Josh Dobbs. We'll see.
Oof.
Josh Dobbs has been okay for fantasy, and it's not like Seattle's some juggernaut of a defense. He's been pretty bad. Dobbs has been bad the past 2 weeks, so I'm hoping for a bounce back. But I heard Kyler's going to be back soon. I think Cade's been holding on to him.
Yeah, he does have him.
Yeah.
I've seen him way down there.
Other than that, I'm hoping Devontae Adams bounces back up against the Bears this week. I have to start some Rashad White, starting Zach Evans. My running back situation this week is pretty tough. I could start Alexander Madison, but he's playing San Fran, so that's not going to happen. Derrick Henry's on bye, and I'm counting the days for Jeff Wilson to come back and be the H-hand to that running back room, hopefully. Cade's side of the ball. Josh Allen, struggling, but he plays the Patriots. A.J. Brown, Jalen Waddle, Bijan against Tampa, ETN, tough matchup against the Saints on Thursday night in the Superdome. Kyle Pitts could put me in my place this week. I've been talking a lot of shit about Kyle Pitts. Wouldn't that be funny if he dropped like 25 on me?
I don't want to cut you off here, but you
Yeah.
said, I know Josh Allen didn't have an amazing week, but he's not struggling.
For fantasy, he's not. I guess the Bills are struggling, but Josh Allen is not.
I can hear Cade on the other side listening to this being like, what the fuck is he talking about when he said that?
That's fair. No, you're right. He had a pretty bad week last week, but
I know he's slightly beat up.
he'll be okay.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Just want to put that out.
So,
my boy.
No, you're right though. I can't believe he put up 34 fantasy points and they scored 20 points against the Jags. I guess he had all the touchdowns. Fair enough. So, who do you guys got in this one?
I think I'm gonna go. No, that's an easy choice for me. I'm going Cade. I mean,
Yeah.
Disrespect.
when you look at his roster, it's pretty nasty right
Zach
now. And
Evans
you
is
look,
dropping 30 on Pittsburgh. I don't give a shit.
hey, you've always got a shot. Devontae could light up that Bears defense. Packers Devontae could come out,
Packers Devontae.
but even if he
Yeah,
does, I don't know. It's got to be Cade.
I'm taking Cade as well
It
here.
has to be Cade. It just has to be. Tough matchups though on his side of the ball for some of those guys. ETN tough matchup. Waddle tough matchup.
True, but
A couple of his big boys. Yeah, he's gonna kick
Saw
my
that.
ass.
I'd have to look, but I saw that Trevor Lawrence was questionable. I don't know or anything as to whether he's gonna if there's like any risk to not start tomorrow. It's a Thursday game
Oh, for
against the
the
Jags, but
ETN
that
play.
could be somewhat of a So I mean, if Trevor Lawrence was out, I don't know. Maybe the injuries embraced here.
I know he had an MRI
Who's
on
the
his
backup?
knee, but I'm pretty sure. I thought he was gonna play. I thought I heard. I mean, he could be
Okay.
banged up still, but
Do you guys remember who the
Yeah,
backup
I
is
was just
in
thinking-
Jacksonville?
that's a good
No, I
question.
don't.
Didn't
check
T-Law
now.
miss some time last year?
CJ, I don't know how to pronounce the
Beathard?
last name. Beathard.
Yeah,
Beathard.
CJ
Yeah.
Beathard.
Yes.
I haven't heard that name in a long time. He's old as hell.
Yeah, he came in at the tail end of the last game just to take the knees when Lawrence got banged up.
Beast.
But yeah.
All right, that's enough for that matchup. Good point though, Jake. I like that.
Where are you going with?
I have to pick myself. I'm legally obligated, but I'm probably gonna get mopped. Speaking of getting mopped, Brandon versus Preston.
I'll let you guys speak on this one.
Jake, who's the shiniest of two turds here?
I'm taking Brandon here. I
You're
don't know.
taking
I'm
Brandon?
feeling it.
You have to, right? Brandon's team is
Oh
better.
God, I don't know if you say
you do.
have to.
Aaron
From my
Jones is
perspective,
back.
If you go on the line, I do like Lamar more than Stafford.
Yep.
I like both his
McLaurin.
receivers over mine.
I would say that Rashee Rice and Michael Thomas are more of a wash, personally.
Fair. Gus Edwards is not gonna have a good week. I don't have anyone else really to go.
Yeah, Gus Edwards beats Clyde though, and I think Pacheco
Yes.
beats Aaron Jones week 1 back, personally.
Also
but
true.
Aaron Jones against Denver is a really tasty matchup, so we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
mean,
don't know what to expect about Aaron Jones this week. Honestly,
Jones is a higher
I get the
upside.
matchup, but it's just I don't know what a snap count's going to be like.
Yeah, I agree. But if you're Preston, you have to start him. So honestly,
Yes,
if you're
you do.
Preston, you start Dylan instead of Clyde, right? Not that Dylan's been good or anything, but it's Denver's defense, and he'll score more
Yeah, I
points
think
with
you
the
do.
Clyde.
Clyde has been not even in the offense really. I mean,
Yeah, he's booty cheeks.
barely
Less
in
than
the
3
offense.
points 3 weeks in a row. Dylan could beat that.
Well, he's barely in. He's never even in the game. If
Yeah.
Pacheco's not in the game, McKinnon's in the game like 90% of the time.
Yeah.
It's just
You
not a
could
good
make
start.
I mean, I would start Ahmed over Clyde, and Ahmed's probably going to be there are talks that Jeff Wilson's going to play this week, and if he does, I would still probably play Ahmed because 2 touches in that offense is way more valuable than 4 touches in the Chiefs offense when you're Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
even if Dylan doesn't do anything, you know he's going to be on the field.
Yep.
Like way more than Clyde. I mean, Manti, start what you want. I want to win, but I also want to lose, so
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Tight end, I take Laporta. That one's not close for me.
Hey, if Manti wins this,
He could.
maybe he makes a trade and goes all in. Just for that last playoff spot.
Book it.
Goes all
Beat
in,
George
yeah.
to it. I think I'm taking Ayuk over Devonta Smith as well. You know, Brandon's got a point. Because if
Also, no
Debo doesn't
maybe.
play, exactly. If Debo's not going to play, or if he's banged up, Ayuk's going to have a big week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Houston's got to pick up a better defense this week.
I don't think he will.
You'd think.
But
You'd think.
I think any sensible person that wants to win the game would.
When was
But
the
I
last
don't
time
know.
Preston touched the waiver wire?
That's a good question.
Um,
Can you see how many transactions your team has made?
yeah, if you
Oh
go to
yeah,
the
you
league
can.
tab.
He's made 5 moves, at least in the league.
Okay. Yeah. If I'm pressing, I'm starting Drake London too over Michael Thomas or Terry.
We spent enough time on this shitty matchup.
We did. I'm
This
taking
isn't going to
Preston.
matter in
I'm
the
taking him.
grand scheme of things.
Jake, you're taking
Brandon.
Brandon?
Brandon.
I'm
Yeah,
taking
go Jake.
Manthai. Let's do it. All right, Jake, you versus Lemons. Let's see if he's going to remain the sperm donor or if that's going to change. Let's see. I am taking Lemons, and it's not close. I'm sorry, Jake.
Projection doesn't look bad,
It doesn't.
but yeah, I mean, I don't blame you.
You know, Philly's a tough matchup for Mostert, but I don't know if matchup matters for the Miami running backs.
I think we could see Purdy to Kittle being a very popular thing on Monday.
Could be with no Debo.
Yeah.
And Minnesota
I
stinks.
actually call me a psycho. I like Jake this week.
There's an argument.
I don't like Mostert against Philly. I mean, I guess you kind of have to like Mostert almost every week, but
Yeah,
that's gonna be a really big game.
I
I
understand.
don't know. You got to think Tyreek and Mostert can't both go off every week, but you never know. They have been so.
Yeah.
But I actually think I like Jake's.
You know, that's a fair
slightly more
point.
this week.
Lemons will need Mahomes this week. He'll need Mahomes to
much
not
as
put
I
up
lo-
20 points.
As much as I liked Dotson, I was happy drafting him.
Stinks.
I don't know how I feel good about him in the flex this week, but I'm very much considering reaching out to a couple of teams about upgrading the flex spot, just like looking for someone to throw. Like this is a game I'd love to make a trade to try to give me a better chance to win.
Mm.
Should be a close one. Yeah.
Jake, I'd offer my services, but I'm not gonna lie, dude. I don't really like anybody in your team.
Yeah,
that I would
if I'm
give
making a deal, so I kind of understand that with teams that are maybe not thinking about the playoff picture right now, they're not going to really want anybody on my team that I'm going to want to give up. And
they want picks.
yeah, they want picks, but then at the same time, I'm like, do I want to is this a team I really want to trade a bunch of picks for, and maybe just to be somewhat competitive against like a Nick or a Lemons or a Cade?
Yep.
Just got to figure that out. This is when you got to figure that out.
You got the record for it. You could, but
I'd rather honestly. Part of me does want to just not screw myself over next year, but I think I at least have the Keenan Allen, Stephon Diggs, Eckler. There's always a chance if I make the playoffs, those guys will just pop off, and even like a Kittle Purdy stack on a good week, it's possible to compete with those guys. So.
Yeah. You know, there might be some stuff we could work out, Jake. You might have to hit me up.
Maybe.
Jake is
Yeah,
already been
sounds
in the
good.
DMs of someone else on this right now.
Oh.
Potentially.
We won't talk about anything else.
Could you guess what player it would be if you just look at Brandon's team later?
I'm not even gonna look at his team and
Yeah,
guess
don't even look at it.
Isaiah Pacheco.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I don't need to look at his team. I can remember it. I was
For
asking
everyone-
about him too.
For everyone listening, Pacheco is someone I kind of want to hang on to just to possibly look at keeping. But if the right offer comes, anyone on my team is available.
If the better offer,
And he's
what?
I said if the right offer comes.
Whoa, pause on that though.
Oh, okay. I mean, if anyone wants, come. You know where to find me.
Jeez.
Joking.
It'd be easier to get Joe Mixon off of Brandon. Just saying.
Sure.
If you want somebody that'll give you 10
Probably.
points.
Mixon was a big late season acquisition last year.
Yeah.
Ended up leading someone to a title. Could do it again.
Yeah. Could. He won't.
Yeah, I like Jake. I like Jake this week.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lemons. If you change your name to something really nice, to maybe go as someone in Jake's family, maybe I'll like you better.
I'm actually surprised he didn't do that. He usually does every year.
It's usually a
Yeah.
Lisa move.
It
It
usually is.
Maybe he'll
Maybe
whip
save
out
it
like
for Thursday.
the Eric.
No,
move.
I think he did one with Brady last
he
year.
got
maybe
Brady.
Eric,
Uh-huh.
something like So we'll see.
All right, next matchup. Daddy Empire and Jags before T-Law. I respect Lane's picture.
That's a really nice picture.
The projections are really low in this one.
Surprised.
James Cook has been struggling. New England's a matchup to bounce back on. George has quite a few bye. Brees Hall and Adam Thielen on bye.
Lane has a ton. They both have a lot on bye.
Oh wow, Lane has a lot
Lane's
of
whole
boys
bench is on bye, pretty much. Besides the
Jesus.
only guys he has are Zeke and Eli this week that aren't on bye, that are healthy.
I think Herbert can be fine. Herbert usually does pretty well against the Chiefs. I know we talked about that before the show. Debo has to play for Lane because he has nobody else put in. Actually, nobody else. He has zero. Earlier when we were looking at his matchup before, and I was talking how he could play a bunch of guys. Turns out they're all on bye, so he cannot. That's impressive. So Debo has to play for Lane, otherwise he's boned. Also, Lane, more incentive to talk on that trade that I offered you. Just saying. Amon-Ra should be good. I really worry about Jonathan Taylor this week against the Browns. The Browns defense has been locking everybody down. And JT hasn't been fully incorporated into the offense yet, or unless this is how it's going to be for him, because Zach Moss has looked good. I don't know. I mean, you'd like to think JT will get more than 6 to 8 carries in a game, but he had 8 carries and 6 catches last week, which is solid involvement. 11 points on that's a bit depressing. I worry about JT this week and next week because he has the Saints next week. That's 2 really tough matchups. I don't know if Lane's going to be able to afford to give up 10 points in Jonathan Taylor for the next couple weeks if he wants to survive. Najee stinks. What's that, Jake?
I was about to say JT and Najee, both guys who were realistically top 4 round picks, but at the same time, these projections might even be too high for this week. I mean, Najee at 10 might even be too high.
Has Najee broken 10 more than once this year? No.
One time this year.
One time against Houston. You're going to tell me he's going to do it against the Rams this week? Bitch, please.
I don't think so. Yeah. So if these teams, if there aren't bye weeks, if there aren't injuries, I'm taking George.
Yeah.
Maybe even somewhat convincingly.
I agree. This is close.
Yep. I also like George. I think Jacoby Myers is going to have another
He'll
solid
outperform
week.
that against the Bears.
I like George a lot this week.
Jonathan Taylor, I'm taking the under on his points. I'm taking the under on Najee's points. I'm taking the under on Debo's points, regardless of whether he plays or not. And
Lane needs another Tucker masterclass.
He does. He needs Elijah Moore to catch a touchdown. Is what he needs. Because that could be big in the flex for him. If Elijah Moore can end up with 16 points, and his other guys aren't complete trash, if Amon-Ra drops another 30 bomb. That was his best score of the year, though, last week.
I mean, and if Debo's really limited, or let's say
he doesn't have a choice.
If Debo gets announced as out on, let's say, Sunday, I mean, he has to pick someone up
to play in the Monday game. Yeah, when you pick up what do they have Juwan Jennings? Come on.
Yeah, I don't even know what he's gonna have to.
You gotta put Debo in the flex here if you're gonna start Elijah Moore either way.
I agree.
You said that, but
Lane, you should move Debo to your flex. That's a pro tip from Jake. Pick up a Viking or a Niner on Monday night when he gets announced inactive. If he does, that way you can play running back or receiver.
It's a tip in general with a Monday night game.
Yep.
But in this case, it's a must with Debo's injury status.
I agree. Yeah, that's tough. This is an easy George dub, in my opinion.
I agree.
Something catastrophic has to happen.
Close. Yeah.
Tua's beating 20 points. I don't care if it's the Philly defense. Maybe he's not.
I don't know.
He's had a couple bad games.
There could be some fireworks.
Yeah. I like the KJ Osborne start, but the Niners defense is a tough week to do it.
Yeah.
He kind of somewhat forced him to do it, but at the same time, he did bid 32 on Osborne or something last week.
If McCaffrey doesn't play, I'd put Jordan Mason there. Is that just me?
Yeah.
Maybe.
He could lead that backfield. He probably won't, but he'll get touches. And I'd rather go up against the Minnesota defense than the Niners defense.
He did spend big on him, but we know George. All he looks at is Yahoo projections, and
Yeah.
he sees that
Oh
1.7.
yeah.
And
If-
I don't know if he's ever going in there.
If Mason's going to be the red zone guy, though, he has 2 touchdowns in 2 weeks. If he's going to be that guy, I mean, you'd like to think the Niners are going to score a ton of touchdowns. If it's
True.
me, if McCaffrey's out, I'm playing Jordan Mason if I'm George instead of KJ Osborne. It's KJ Osborne, right? Yeah.
Yes.
But that should be an interesting game to watch, huh? Ooh, now this, speaking of interesting games, Nick B and Greg, 2 Titans. 5-1, better record, or Nick B's 4-2 with an incredible points for on the year. Cousins or Jalen Hurts? I'm going Hurts pretty easily with the San Fran matchup for Kirk, and it's prime time. Greg, you might need to. I know you like. He's kind of the theme of your team, Greg, but Russell Wilson might have to make an appearance in your lineup. I know Russ had 5 points last week, but he's been pretty good otherwise. And I know Kirk Cousins has been good this year, but that Niners defense in prime time Kirk is not good. Damn.
Looking at the waiver wire, if I'm Greg, at least just taking a glance at it.
No,
going
you
to this
stay away
one.
from that, Greg. You stay away from the waiver wire. I might need to hit that up.
I'm
Who's
not
out
saying,
there
yeah,
with
I'm
Matt
not saying he's
Stafford?
gonna do it, but Geno Smith is best
Oh,
available.
Yeah.
Like a Baker Mayfield potentially.
Who do they
I don't
have,
know.
Arizona
I'm not
this
saying he's gonna
week?
actually do
Yeah.
it, but
Yeah, I'd start Russ over those guys against Green Bay, honestly. Is that bad?
No, I think Denver is going to win this week.
Oof, that's
So,
tough.
I know.
Green
that
Bay's
is
been a
tough.
bad defense. I think you can start Russell Wilson with confidence this week. Calvin Ridley versus Puka. I'm taking Puka. Pittman versus Moore. I'm taking Pittman. Swift McCaffrey. That loaded question. If McCaffrey plays, you have to play him. I think I take Swift though. I don't know. If McCaffrey plays, is he getting the full workload?
I don't know.
Tough
I'm
to
not
say.
a coach.
Yeah.
I would think he would. I don't think they would risk him if he
Yeah.
wasn't 100% good to go.
You could be right.
I think if he plays, he'll do what he's been doing
Yeah.
and get the touches he has been.
I do see a world where they go up big on Minnesota early and McCaffrey kind of gets sidelined
Yeah,
if he
then
does
they
play.
watch him. Yeah, that
Because
could
why
easily
risk?
happen as well.
But yeah, I think I lean Swift this week. I mean, obviously that depends on McCaffrey playing. If McCaffrey plays and he's good to go, then you have to take McCaffrey because that's who he is. I'll take Kenneth Walker over Jalen Warren though. Jalen Warren's a tough start. I know he's good for 8 to 10 points, but it's not what you want when you're going up against a guy like Kenneth Walker who can drop a 30 bomb on you with like 2 plays. Hawkinson Kelsey is a really interesting tight end matchup. Is Hawkinson, does he have more fantasy points than Kelsey? No, Kelsey's beating him. Easy Kelsey. Mike Evans, Amari Cooper. Is Deshaun Watson back this week?
this is a good question. I'm
Cooper
not
was
certain on
fine
that.
last week without him.
This goes back to again where I saw like a Baker Mayfield potentially on the waiver wire if it gets
Yeah.
to that point. Knowing that at least if Evans gets a touchdown or two, you could get some from
That's legit.
Baker.
That's fair. I think I lean Evans over Cooper personally. That's tough though. That's close. I don't know where you guys stand on that one.
I think I would go Evans slightly, and I mean with the Colts, I don't know what to expect yet. I know you're a big Gardner Minshew. I could see the Browns just
Gardner Mitchell's
Just
good for
running.
fantasy, but he's not a good NFL quarterback.
I
think you're right. I think
I'm leaning Evans.
he could turn the ball over. All right, kicker defense. Buffalo defense against New England could be big. Jacksonville against the Saints also could be pretty good. Maybe. Saints have been struggling. If you're Greg, are you starting Addison against San Fran?
I don't know if he wants to start 3 Vikings, that's the thing. Hawkinson, Cousins, and Addison.
I think his team name is
Tim
acceptable
Stanford,
for
yeah.
Vikings. I think if
It's
it's
true.
me, oh, I mean, if Gibbs plays, I'm starting Gibbs, right? Over Cooper.
Ooh, I think
don't
it's a toss
know.
up.
I don't know
Yeah.
with that
I'm not.
Baltimore
I'm not
defense.
like 100% confident to start Gibbs at all.
I don't think I would. I think I would still start Cooper. Personally,
Okay.
Baltimore has a good run defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
It's
think
pretty
you're
close.
just hoping Gibbs catches passes at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're not wrong. There's a lot of question marks there. We'll see. Nick B's bench. Montgomery could play. No, he's not playing, right? They announced he's out, right? Yeah, Dan Campbell said he's missing time. I think Nick's lineup is set. You
Yeah,
could
I
maybe
agree.
make an argument for Tyler Algier over Jalen Warden, but Elijah. Okay, he's Elijah Mitchell if McCaffrey doesn't go. And I guess if Gibbs doesn't go, I'd consider Craig Reynolds over Warren. I know Baltimore's, like you said, Baltimore's run defense is solid, but it's not like the Rams isn't too. So, and the
You might
Detroit
just.
Lions have the
Oh,
best
man.
they have one of the best lines in the league.
I can't believe I just let the. I just realized that Josh Palmer was picked up by Nick. Must have been because I was making fun of George for picking up Addison and spending, or not Addison, sorry, picking up KJ Osborne and spending 32. I thought it was a really lateral move going from Palmer to Osborne, especially spending the 32 fab. And Palmer did outscore Osborne in the first week. Nice.
Yeah, and he's been
Not
pretty
that-
solid. 10 points.
Yeah, he's been decent actually.
Hard to argue with that. I think that's been better
Well,
than
I mean-
Osborne for a lot of the weeks.
A lot of people thought Quentin Johnston was going to step
Yeah,
in right away.
he looks bad,
He's been a huge disappointment. Yeah.
but we'll see. So that's the last matchup. I think. Where do you guys stand on this one?
I'm going Nick B. I mean, he's just got some studs on his team. Even with McCaffrey out, I still lean Nick B.
I
Sweet.
tend to agree. What are you feeling, Jake?
It's Nick. It's got to be Nick B.
Gotta be Nick B. You hear that,
Gotta be
Greg?
Nick B
It's
this week.
gotta be Nick B.
It's
And
got to
just
be
some-
Nick B this week.
Just something that I hope Greg would do, just because I know Greg and Greg's a great guy. If he starts Russell Wilson, he has to change back to limited, right?
You
Just
do.
for the week,
That's
at
true.
least.
You have to for the
I
week.
would respect that a bit. Yeah.
It's only I'm saying you can't start Russ but still be Kirktober, and you can't start Kirk and be limited. So I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
You're,
guessing the name change goes along with the QB change if it happens.
say what you will about Greg, but he's been very consistent with his names over the past couple of years. It's
That's
Kirk
true.
Cousins and it's Russell Wilson. He's been riding and dying with those guys. All right, I think that means it's time, gentlemen. It is time for the. Hold on.
Boom. Roasted.
Segment. All right. Let's do it. Oh, Cade. You are going to wish that Justin Fields was active this week after my Joshua Dobbs drops 30 plus up your ass, dude.
Boom. Roasted.
All right. This one is going to be a double roast. To both Brandon and Manthai, this might be the only chance that you two have at a win for the entire rest of the season. Let's see if Preston can earn the right to be on the show next week. You know what? If whoever wins will be on the show again next week. Brandon, you might make back-to-back appearances.
Hey.
Let's see if you can keep the stink down there.
Boom. Roasted.
Jake, you are going to see nightmares about the Mahomes, Tyreek, Mostert trio absolutely assaulting your team that is forced to start Jahan Dotson.
Boom. Roasted.
Lemons, I don't think being Carolyn's sperm donor is the flex that you think it is.
Boom. Roasted.
Oh no.
That's tough. All right. Lane, your team picture could have passed for the same image that Lemons used in his current team photo.
Roasted.
George, I'm starting to think that your team name was inspired by the name of the all-male club that you hang out in on Thursday nights.
Boom. Roasted.
Nick B, your team is falling apart at the seams with all the injuries to your studs. It'd be a real shame if you dropped like 4 spots this week in the standings after you take an L to someone with Kirk Cousins in a Buzz Lightyear costume as their team pick.
Boom. Roasted.
Greg, imagine starting Calvin Ridley in New Orleans instead of your boy Jordan Addison when your team name is Kirktober and you have the triple Viking stack. Embrace it.
Boom. Roasted.
Gentlemen, that'll do it for this week. Good luck to everybody except for Cade, Manti, nice, and Carolyn Sperm Donor. Gentlemen, it's been a good week. Let's keep her moving. We're going to have a really good week 7. Jake's going to be doing the show next week instead of me after I put up 50 points this week. Thanks all
Maybe me
for
and
listening.
Brandon will be the hosts.
Yeah, there you go. You and Brandon. Maybe. Or it could be you and Manti for all we know.
Oh man, that'd be quite the pod. Me and Manti.
That would be a heck of a show. Record views. All right, boys.
Numbies.
It's been a pleasure. Good luck to everybody next week except for Cade, Preston, and Lemons.
Manti and Lemons. Why not?
Huh? I said Preston and Lemons, right?
Oh
Thanks,
shit.
Preston.
Yeah, okay,
My
we're good. You were expecting Manti. All right. See y'all next week.